What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Klonoa 2, Lunatia's Veil. I, of course, am Whatthefnu, and in the last episode, stuff happened, okay? I'm not even going to try to recap all of it right now. You want to know what went down, you're just going to have to go back and watch it yourself like a good little viewer. And wow, could I have started this episode off sounding even more like an asshole? Oh my god. I'm so sorry. What I'm not sorry about, though, is showing off this level to all of you. This is what I like to call a remix level, or a remastering, if you will. Basically, it's a level we've already been through, but obviously retooled to be more difficult, more challenging in a lot of senses. Now, you'd think that would be a strike against this game's design, but I actually disagree. I think it actually helps it in a lot of senses, and I'll explain why. Yeah, if they were just standard, like, recolors of stages, like it was the same sort of enemies, except they had shields now, that would be kind of bad. If they handled it in a lame way, that would be a strike against it, but they don't. See, this is what I find... Yeah, chalk this up to the million reasons I love this game even now as an adult as I did when I was a kid, but as a child, I was fascinated by the colorful world, the cool characters, the just hop and bop platforming, but as an adult, I'm fascinated by this game's clever design. The platforms are all in the same places, but the challenges associated on them is completely different. I wasn't sliding down that slope, I had to compensate for the fire. I had to ride those platforms to make sure I didn't lose my health too quickly to compensate for. I love these stages because they compensate for two completely different sets of challenges. And that is just, that's something I want to achieve someday. Maybe with a game like Miku's Lullaby. Yeah, that's a game I haven't brought up in a while, have I? I mean, well... Not to say I hate the project we're working on now, but, you know, it's not my baby. It's not the idea I've tried to grow and nurture for the past 4 years. By the way, we're getting chased by a giant death bot again. Yeah. This is the main gimmick in this stage now, is you have to compensate for this guy traveling behind you with that laser of doom. And yes, if he catches up to you, you are pretty much dead. You just have to keep running. Anything that slows you down or holds you back, you have to avoid like the plague. And coincidentally, that's how you grab most of the collectibles in this part. You got those gems to compensate for, that doll piece, everything else that's happening. There's always just enough time. You think I'd be more confident in myself concerning this guy, considering I've played through this game a million times, but no, it still makes me nervous. The fact that instant death is just a little bit behind you. It is constantly nipping at your heels. It's stressful. It's really, really stressful, even to this day. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a reason for that. Remember how I said Jungle Slider was the first obstacle I had to my perfect run as a kid? This level was the second, mostly because you only get one shot at a lot of things here. So, I'm going to do my best, but I make no guarantees I'm not going to die here. Just a fair warning. Alright. At least all the secrets are in the same place. Oh, I missed. Really? On camera? Like I said, I'm a little bit rusty, so you're going to have to forgive things like that. Hey, 2 lives right in a row. Not bad. See if I can remember how to do this correctly. Yep. And yeah, nabbed him. See, I still got some of it left. You just gotta trust your fingers in a lot of these situations. Just, when you've played something so much, it's ingrained in your memory. If your brain doesn't remember it, your fingers will. I guarantee it. I think I've talked about this before, actually. By the way, I want to talk about the setting we've had here. A primarily red country with propaganda posters all over the place, stars, giant robots. Nah, nothing's coming to mind. Yeah, well, that one may be a little bit obvious to all of you, but this is kind of another sort of design challenge. I want you to think about this as viewers. This game, it may seem like a big fantasy world, but I've been noticing this in recent years. You'd be amazed how much the world of Lunatia actually parallels Earth. I want you to, I'm not going to spoil it. Just chew on that one for a little while. Let it stew in your mind for a bit. And because, trust me, once you realize which countries are supposed to represent what places in our world, it's all gonna make sense. I kind of feel like Gaijin Goomba making you guys think about cultural references and everything, but really, there is some fascinating stuff here if you really give it some brain power. Just throwing that out there. Won't spoil the surprise. I want you to figure it out for yourself. Anywho, hold on. This is another spot where I really have to focus. This is one of those you only get one chance things. Oh, I fudged it. Okay, watch this. Watch what happens here. It looks like I have time, right? Nope! He goes down and completely covers that thing in fire. And no, there's no way I can catch up now, see? Apparently every other fire just drains my health a little bit, but no, the fire he leaves behind is instant death. Okay, let's just use some editing magic to cut to me getting it first try. Nice. Alright, alright, alright. Everything else from this point on is gravy if I just remember to do it correctly. Couple gems up here I have to compensate for. Whoo! Right on. Remember what I said about him nipping at your heels? Yeah, just little close shaves like that. That is so hard to do correctly. So very few games get that right, where something is chasing you. Making it tense without it feeling like it's waiting for you. You know what I mean? You've played that game before where there's a giant threat that's supposedly behind you, but it waits for you at exactly the right moment. And to be fair, it kind of did it there at that one platform. It just kind of sat there for a second while it waited for me to end my cannon run right there. And I'm going to blame that more on, I don't know, sort of the limitations of the system. Maybe time crunches. They couldn't really program his path back in to sort of compensate for the fact that Klonoa ended up there a little earlier, but everything else in this game is so great, I'm not going to nitpick over one tiny little thing like that. There's just too much good stuff to let that bother me. And yeah, I believe we're done with this stage now. That was the final challenge right there, is him trying to squash us. What, are you out of laser fuel? Or laser, I am going to look like a complete idiot right now. How do you power a laser? Like in real life, what is the science behind this? Oh, by the way, check this out. Well, I guess that's one way to stop a robotic pursuer. Hit him with a frigging train. And now you know why they set that up earlier. I mean, it's a cool scene and all, but what I really want to know is what Klonoa said right there, right before the screen turned white. He was mouthing something to the sky. I can't help but wonder what it was. Oh, you know this thing's about to explode. The entire room is shaking. Phew. It's like the machines are even sighing in relief. Looks like we just barely made it in time. Yeah, that was too close for comfort. Did you notice no one bothered to come and shut it down? Yeah, think about that for a second. It's a little scary, isn't it? People so focused on killing one another, they don't even mind if it all ends. All they do is play in Joliant, while they only fight in Volk. When you think about it, they're all kind of strange. But a priestess's power is necessary for the ring to function. So how did Leorina... Uh-oh. Plot's getting even thicker. And you know what? How about I add even more flour to the stew? Let's go visit Baguji one more time in this episode before we move on. Yeah, I'm just kind of not killing time, I should say. I'll explain it when we get there, but there's a reason I want to get this out of the way now. Besides, give you guys something a little, just maybe a minute or two more. Just kind of take your mind off of things for a little bit. Let me entertain you. If you find me entertaining at all, that is. Leorina. I thought only a priestess could wield the ring. We may have underestimated her. Now, how is... Yeah, for those... Once again, this is sort of something you have to understand about Klonoa in general. He needs a magical familiar of sorts to wield the ring. In this case, a priestess. In the original game, he had a little partner named Hupo, who was also... well, if I get too much into it, it's spoilers for the original game, but yeah, there's a reason only certain people can help Klonoa use the ring, and there's a reason that he needs a partner in the first place. Well, I may as well fill this episode up with something, or... No, but actually, this is something I can fill it up with. Said that this ark once traveled not only to Mira Mira, but all around the world. Perhaps you can use the ark. We're a little on the nose with the names here, don't you think? The Lake of Seclusion. Yeah, you're separated off from the rest of the world, and you call the barrier dividing the two of you the Lake of Seclusion. Bravo, guys. This is in light of places called Joliant and Volk and La Lacusha, Lunatia. Once again, I'm not going to nitpick about little tiny little things like that. It's just kind of funny in hindsight. Random bird. Just for the sake of making the world feel a bit more alive. Yeah, there's wildlife flying around. This is a place that feels alive. It's full of little details like that. See? Aren't we so good at creating a world? Check this out. After all, I can't let Leorina save the world. Huh? What do you mean? We are going to save the world. So now it's a competition, I take it. Whatever. Let's get going then. Yeah, no point just letting her handle everything for us. We got a game to play anyway. I wonder what playing a game as Leorina would be like. Oh, check this out. Dream Traveler. Oh, he's got legs after all. Look at that. Your future remains veiled to me. Oh, what a cryptic statement. What a way to build up story, huh? Once again, for those of you who know what... I'm going to explain that one of these days. And you know what? I'll have plenty of opportunities in the next episode. Want to know why? Because this is, hands down, the longest, most drawn-out, boring stage in the entire game. And you know what the worst part is? We'll be coming here twice. This is Ishra's Ark, and we shall tackle it next time. Seriously, I apologize for how long this is going to be ahead of time. Later, everybody.